Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
I think we should really have a conversation because I'm a little worried about you, buddy.
Why? What'd I do?
Well, you tweeted out the Avs are going to win, and then they didn't. So, like, now, I know we talked about this on GPS, but I feel like it really is time for an intervention. You curse things, my friend, and I don't want you to take that personally. So that's why we have gathered all your family and friends. Come on out, everybody. This is an intervention.
I stopped the intervention right now. Tom Grossi, you will be the first member from Clickbait Sports to get 1 million subscribers, guaranteed.
Oh my God. Oh, baby. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And now I'm going to get hit by a bus because Brandon Perna just cursed me. He just did it. So now
Welcome,
I'm going to be at 999 subscribers.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to get right there, and then the world's going to end.
Yeah, I'm going to be so pissed, dude. I'm going to be... Because you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go on vacation. Another pandemic. I'm going to go and just, I don't know, be like, hey, I've made a decent living now. I'm going to go enjoy it. End of the world. Meteor. Asteroid. Great. Can't wait. Can't wait. Listen, Bucks, Bruins, Avs, we're all making history.
Gerard, you missed the important part. The Avs won the cup last year. We good. And they did not choke. All right. One of their players broke their freaking neck in this series.
Scary.
Guess what happened to Seattle? Nothing. I guess you can break players' necks whenever you want without punishment. Also, didn't have Gabe Landeskog. Thought we'd get him back for the postseason. I ain't hurt. I got the Nuggets, and we are dribbling, and dunking.
Did you say drabbling?
Yeah, this team's going to drabble. You can't defend something that you don't know what it is.
Oh, you got a fitty, Perna.
Oh, Zach. Oh, I'm sorry about the hangover. The Cure is watching the Nuggets, Zach. The Cure is watching the Nuggets or just shredding on your skateboard. Boom. You got ollied.
It's the ending of that clip that does it for me because it's just like... It's the coolest, bro-ish, like, yeah, I did that.
90% of skateboarding is looking cool after you land the trick.
True. That's accurate. I sprained my ankle going on a skateboard once, going down a driveway, and I was like, that's it for me.
Yeah. Guys, I'm less than a year removed from a Stanley Cup championship. Okay? I'm all right. I'm all right with the Avs. Okay? They need a little break. They need some rest. I've watched that team win 3 cups. I'm okay. And again, it's Nuggets time. Also, we got a huge guest coming halfway through the show. Oh my God, I'm very nervous. I'm very excited. Not a football guy, guys.
Brandon's very excited.
So keep guessing.
He's very excited.
He's one of my favorites.
Brandon texted me. You see that smile? That's a genuine smile right there. Brandon texted me.
I'm gonna embarrass myself, and this person is not gonna like me.
Meanwhile, Brandon will come on this show and just be like, "Here is my nipple," and it's just like Tom will just take it. He's gonna be on it. I'm surprised.
Still got the TG.
Oh my
God. Rockin' Tom Grossi, baby.
It's so prominent.
That's a full. Wait, are we at a week yet? Maybe.
I don't maybe. I don't know, buddy. I don't know time or anything, but I'm surprised you didn't like go in like a 3-piece suit, maybe a little bow tie action, or you're just kind of playing it cool, like you just landed a cool ollie. You're just like, yeah, man. No,
Yeah.
it's
Sick.
guests. Yeah. I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool.
Sick.
Cool. I'm cool. But yeah, we want to get through the draft and kind of talk about that. Yes, Brendan?
We drafted a white corner, so I am raising my hand.
Oh, I didn't even read it. I should probably read that one before I just randomly
The
show it.
rarest athlete of them all. The white corner.
I saw so many white Bronco jokes on Twitter. Yeah. Well done, internet. Well done. Yep. Talk about the Denver Broncos, because didn't have a pick in the first round, but made some trade-uskis, and all of a sudden you were picking it. Also, did you get off your live stream? And then they traded again?
No, it was a while later. Yeah. But they traded into the second round, took Oklahoma receiver Marvin Mims. I think that's a very nice pick. And then they took a linebacker I didn't really know, Drew Sanders. But after the day went on and I learned about it, people love Drew Sanders. Basically considered the number 2 linebacker in the draft. What did I miss?
You went on Twitter and were like, "Tell me about him."
Yeah, I mean, look, I
don't know.
In a not deep linebacker class, when your team doesn't pick for two rounds. Look, I made no effort to learn about the draft this year, guys. Didn't give a shit. Just didn't care. And most Broncos fans didn't. It was the least interested I have seen fans around this team heading into a draft. That said, consensus right now, great value. Broncos got some great value picks. Drew Sanders, going to be a stud. They went tall. He's like 6'4" for a linebacker. Then they take Riley Moss, corner, Iowa, milky, pasty, ready to be fast. He's like Tom Grossi, but he's a track star and a very good corner.
He's a runner. He's a track star.
Yeah. And anytime, if your team drafts an Iowa player, you are going to get so many Iowa fans telling you how awesome that dude is. They've got a great fan base, and I know they follow the school closely. So that's always my favorite part of the draft, is all of the people in your mentions who follow that college team. Like, this dude's a stud. This guy's going to, they say it about every single one that's drafted. Can't work out for everybody, but yeah.
Correct.
And then we went Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
We got another safety. Big dude. Boise State fans, compare this man to Steve Atwater. His name is J.L. J.L. stands for nothing. Per him. Okay? J.L. Skinner.
League?
What?
Is he like the Justice League?
Ooh, Justice League Skinner. Like it.
Hey, man.
And Alex Forsyth from Oregon, who Mitchell Schwartz came out on Twitter and said this dude's a stud. So I'll take it.
You're like, I believe it. You would know this if there was anybody to ask this question to. It's you. Isn't the principal in Back to the Future his last name Skinner?
I can't remember. I know the principal in The Simpsons is Skinner.
But you said Back to the Future is one of your favorite movies.
Yeah, it is. I don't remember the principal's name. I just think of him holding that shotgun.
He was very bald. That's going to be 5 in 2 years. If we even get to. But might be next week.
You're saying I'm going to be dead in 2 years?
I'm saying 5. What? I'm saying 5 is going to turn into the principal from Back to the Future. Oh boy, that's a great question. Is it Strickland? Here. Oh, it's Strickland.
Strickland, that's
never
right.
Mind. I never mind. Then the joke is over. The joke is
Gerald
done.
Strickland.
Damn it!
The enchantment
that was horrible.
under the sea dance.
You saw that? Yeah, that was, dude. That got dark. That was so bad. That was heartbreaking because I saw something and I was like, oh, I saw the Buccaneers release something and I was like, what the hell happened? And I went down the rabbit hole and that was brutal. That was scary, dude.
Nothing but love for Shaq and his family. I can't imagine.
Doesn't mean it's
Like,
bad.
I don't know how to even like offer words or sympathy. It just hit too close to home. Like having a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know, man. I feel horrible for Shaq Barrett. He was like just a good dude, like a guy we all really loved here in Denver and rooted for him when he went to Tampa to get paid. And then to see that, it's just like, it's devastating.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could just, like you said, just like thoughts with like their family.
Yeah. Like, what do you say?
It's just, you can't. So, yeah, honestly horrible. In terms of kind of what's going on for this past weekend, I feel like, not to like change gears, but just sticking with the draft, I feel like there was a good amount of fans that were like relatively happy about their draft. Like there was like some like, okay, but I even noticed like on PFF, they were like grading just about everybody got like an A to like a B plus or whatever, except for like the Cowboys. I think they got like a C plus, but I think that you found a lot of like good talent, but I don't know. It was a weird draft this year. Like it was a very odd draft. I feel like their GMs and scouts weren't super duper like on the players. They were like, hey, there's like a lot of value later. You see a lot of trade backs. So
I hope so.
I'm interested to see how this is going to pan out because the Green Bay Packers had a very different type of draft, Brandon Perna. Very different kind of draft. And it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of team that they actually field this season.
Well, and that's like, I've got a video I'll upload after today's show. It's about like 5 teams I thought did really well in the draft. But that, like, I opened it with like, our draft graders getting soft? Because it was like everybody got an A. Like, did they just learn that like people click on the positive draft articles versus like the
I think so, because then they share it because they're like, look how good my team did. Yeah. I noticed that and I was like, I don't like this.
A lot of A's now, which it seemed like it used to be impossible to get an A. There's like maybe 1 or 2 teams who would get an A draft immediately. But
yeah, no, it seemed like all of them got it. Yeah, I'm curious because Reed has like will start sooner, but Wicks has some really cool potential. But the Packers for the 3rd time under Brian Gutekunst drafted 3 wide receivers. We got 2 tight ends. And like we basically half the draft was committed to the offense. And
you guys had a ton of picks.
We had 13 picks, Brandon. 13 picks.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I did a video on all of them. I know.
I saw you.
It was insane. It was wild. But
watching you upload all those videos, I was like, if that's what it takes to be successful, ain't for me. It ain't for me.
There was,
you know what? The more I kind of read about Luke Musgrave, I think you guys did real good right there.
I'm very excited. Obviously, I wanted Darnell Washington a lot, but like Luke Musgrave in the passing game, and then we got more of our like run blocker, but also can go out for passes in Tucker Kraft. This, besides the Sean Clifford pick, I didn't like that, but whatever. They got Carl Brooks later, which I think was a steal. So looking at this draft, this screams to me, hey, Jordan Love, we don't really like, we think you're going to be good. We have like some confidence in you, but we are going to give you so many targets and make this as easy as humanly possible for you because they have 2 good running backs in Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. They have a good offensive line and all-pro left tackle. They, on top of that, they have the wide receiver core from last year, Christian Watson. Speedy could do everything. They have Romeo Doubs, who's just a reliable pass catcher. And now you have Jaden Reed, who's going to be in the slot, who's speedy. And then you have 2 huge tight ends and Josiah DeGuara to throw to. It's like, just dump it off. Like, I don't know if you're going to see it something like super duper explosive, but I think it's going to be efficient, the kind of offense they're going to run until they really know, hey, this is what we have in Jordan Love.
You know what nobody's going to say? But I'm going to say it. Bowling Green, defensive tackle, Carl Brooks, will be your best defensive player.
I mean, that I don't know about that. I mean, we have Jair Alexander and Rashawn Gary in this draft.
He will be your best defender for the next 10 years.
Okay. He's going to be good. Him, Wooden, the more that I looked into Wooden, Really excited about that. And then Lucas Van Ness like has a really high ceiling. I just think it's going to be a little bit until he develops. They're going to take the Rashawn Gary way. So, yeah.
Yeah. Gary's coming off his injury, right? Like,
yeah, he's not going to be back for like a month or two after the season even starts.
Van Ness will get to play right away.
Yeah.
Be good depth. They're all healthy. Good depth, as they say.
Oh, yeah. And we got Tucker Kraft, too. Also, Kraft cheese. Like, he's perfect. Tucker Kraft.
He got anointed into Packers country real fast.
He's one. Yes. Two. Did you see like the telephone call, like the phone call he got? I say telephone. I'm like 100 years old. The phone call that he got.
Ring me on the telly.
The rotary telephone. I was like, oh, yes, Mr. Commissioner.
8, 9. Oh, shit. We did the wrong number. We got to call Kraft again.
They run out of time.
Operator, connect me to Tucker Kraft.
So anyway, yeah, his draft room, like where he was getting like his draft party was like in a garage or like in a warehouse. They just had like beer tables set up. And I was like, yep, he's Wisconsin. Yeah. He's fine. He's going to be good. So I'm really, really excited. Yeah, that sucked. That did. Oh, Lions got a C+. It means nothing. Draft grades mean nothing. They mean nothing until 3 years later at minimum.
Yeah.
Mean nothing.
I think the Lions did a pretty good job. I thought they were the team that reached in the first and got great value in the second. So it basically evens out. There's my Bronchies. What do we got here? Oh, the Cowboys B+.
I'm so glad to know that we can keep you company during that.
What's Derma rolling? Just like
I'm okay with that though. I mean, like again, JSN was a pipe dream. It was a pipe dream. So it is what
you know what's crazy, Tom?
You tell me, buddy. I really wanted Cedric Tillman.
Siaki Ika?
Yeah.
I mocked him to the Browns.
There you go.
And I only mocked one player to the Browns, Tom. And it was in my best names. And the only reason I did it is I wanted announcers to have to try and say Siaki Ika and Taki Sione Taki and Siaki Ika at the same time. Because that's a real tongue twister.
That's phenomenal.
I didn't even know it. Somebody started tweeting me like, you predicted this. I was like, oh my God, I did.
Like, Copernicus. Boom. Oh, they were going to hang. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I was curious. Like, do you feel, because you didn't like look into it, like the draft, are you now like more excited that you got to like hear about them? Or are you kind of just like, I'm curious just to see how like these current guys are going to do because like you didn't have a first round pick, so it's not as exciting.
For the Broncos?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like, I don't know. There's two things. It's not having an early pick and then only having 5 picks, right?
Yeah.
That said, like, I think Marvin Mims is a guy who can come in and make an impact right away.
He's solid.
Like, I trust Sean Payton finding, talented wide receivers. We've had KJ Hamler's been the guy who's supposed to be this speed demon and sort of that big play receiver, and he's just been hindered by injuries. So, Mims is exciting right away. Drew Sanders was interesting in that, like, the Broncos have their linebackers. So clearly the team thought very highly of Sanders and like best player available. And they're taking that, in the third. And then like, I am interested in JL Skinner because he's another like, I think he's like 6'4" as well. And he plays safety. So how they mix him into the defense, knowing Kareem Jackson may or may not come back this season. They've been talking to him. So yeah, look, it's, they're later round picks, but if 2 of these guys turn out to be like long-term starters for Denver, that's like a huge win in this draft.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, of course. I mean, we had 13. So we had 13 picks. So it was basically like, hey, We're a
You should-
team that's going to figure out what their identity is. And listen, last year in one draft, in one mock draft, I got 4 players right, a total of 5 last year. I did like 3 Packers mock drafts. This year, big old
0?
goose egg. Big
Whoa.
old goose egg. Yeah, no,
Wow.
guys went before, like Brian Branch, like I mocked him at one point, went to the Lions, the Packers trade out for that. Darnell Washington trade out for that. Yeah, I almost did Grant DeBose, but I didn't do it at the very end. But I'm kind of optimistic because again, my expectation even before like even this draft, I was like, I don't know if we even we're going to be good. Like I don't know if we're going to make the playoffs, but I think there's enough talent on this team. But I will say this: if the defense is not top 10, Joe Barry needs to be fired. Gone. Goodbye.
Whoa.
Like goodbye. But that is needed to be done. They needed to. So
okay, Roman.
I actually do this. The only year I haven't done it is this year, just because the 2020 draft ain't nobody nobody know yet.
Roman.
Ain't nobody know. But yeah, that's when the draft grades really start to matter. It's at least 3 years afterwards, because otherwise it's not. It's just not. Casey, I think they did a nice job hosting the draft, by the way.
Sure.
It looked nice.
Nobody said anything about their hospitality.
Eagles also are now the new Georgia Bulldogs.
Yes. Yeah. Drafts in Detroit next year.
Yes.
Oh, you don't like the division rival hosting the draft, Tom?
No, I don't care about that. They took Green Bay was a finalist to host it, and that's literally Mark Murphy's dream. So
yeah, they're like, you got to drive an hour into Green Bay after landing. I don't think so.
What?
No airport in Green Bay.
Austin Struble Airport is maybe 10 minutes away from the stadium. It's small, but it's there. You can fly into Green Bay.
Airport can't handle that many people coming. Quentin Johnston, that might be fun for Chargers fans. They went heavy in TCU, the Chargers. We'll see if that works. It's like the
Horn
Howie
Frogs.
Roseman, Georgia approach, but with the team that had their asses kicked by Georgia. So, interesting approach.
Listen, this just reminded me of the Patriots. I love how Bill Belichick literally has just turned around and is like, yeah, I just don't. The offense, I don't care. They're like, no one's going to score on us. Like, we're going to have like the best defense in the league. Our offense, though, we're going to win like 3-0. Because they like you have look at like their offense is trash. And
they got a center. They got a center.
Yeah, they waited that, and then they got a kicker. That's what I'm talking about. They're like, we got offensive linemen to block for the field goal kicker. Done. That's it. We're going all defense.
Yeah. That's a lot of corners. 3 corners, but like the Patriots, they find corners. That's just like what they do.
Yeah.
And then they turn into like all pros, and then they trade them to the Chargers, and the corner's not as good. It's just the Belichick approach.
But it's just so funny because you had a bunch of teams that are like, yeah, there's a good chance that they take quarterbacks. Patriots didn't take a quarterback. Commanders, they didn't take any quarterback either. They're rocking with Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell. So I'm
surprised that D-Hop didn't get moved during the draft.
Well, so after the first night, though, what was it? The GM or the owner came out and said, like, yeah, no, we're not moving him this weekend. Like, he's not getting traded this weekend. And again, you still have Budda Baker, who also requested a trade out of there. So the Cardinals, I think, did exactly what they should have done. Because you and I have talked about this. They traded down. They got a first-round pick next year. Then they traded back up and got their best offensive lineman that they wanted, that their quarterback wanted to. So I actually like the Cardinals draft. I like it. It's true. Austin Strubel's right there. It's right there. It's a nice airport. I like Austin Strubel. We lost Brandon.
No, I'm here. I'm coordinating. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Chiefs could have skipped this year on the draft, and they could have just partied and drank beer on the stage, and they'd still win their division. So, sorry. But I'm right. Brandon,
Yeah.
what you doing, buddy?
Working, coordinating, efforting behind the scenes. Who won the draft?
I mean, listen, the Eagles, based off of like the consensus big board, crush it. Like they crushed it.
Yeah. The Steelers and the Pennsylvania.
I
Pretty
loved
good
the
draft.
Steelers draft. I loved it.
It's like the Steelers had a really, really good draft, and it'll be up to Kenny Pickett to like just take that second year leap. But they got a good team around him. And then the Eagles just felt like they were cheating.
Yeah,
Like a team that loses the Super Bowl and has a top 10 pick, it just feels like cheating.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And then the tampering trade or whatever with the
they get a third round they swap third round picks with the Cardinals.
Yeah. Like
dude,
those are two very high picks that you don't typically see a team with that good of a record get, right? So it's like those top 10 picks, it's usually players that are very talented, but they're going to teams that need saving. Instead, the Eagles are a team that should be poised to win the NFC. They'll be favorites.
They'll be favorites. NFC? Yeah, of course, they'll be favorites again. I mean, you look at just the Eagles, like what they needed from last year. First of all, like they go and get I like Tyler Steen. I like that pick a lot, but they're like, hey, let's make our defense even better. Oh, and by the way, we led the league in sacks by a large margin. They had over like 60 sacks last year?
1,000, as far as I'm concerned. Just 0 in the Super Bowl.
Oh. They should have invested in defensive players.
Grass slippery.
They should have invested in cleats instead, because that would have been more helpful.
7-inch cleats.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
All right, Tom.
Also, real quick, you know whose draft I really like?
Whose?
The Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I thought they did good too.
I think I Michael Mayer. I think
and the Seahawks.
Well, the Seahawks. But it's every year, Brandon. You know it's every year because they took JSN from me. So, you know, even though the Packers could have had him. So I get it. I get it. I mean, this season, Staley's already on a hot seat. So,
all right.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah, a lot of, that's the thing. Felt like a lot of teams had good drafts. Kind of feels that way every year. Who knows? But our guest is ready to come into the show, Tom. I teased it on Twitter. A lot of people guessing football guy.
Makes sense. Nope,
we pivoted. My favorite comedian, podcast host of The Dollop. We are bringing in Gareth Reynolds, known Packers fan, to talk some football with us.
I like that you teased like maybe there'd be an amazing sports guru, and then you're like, and no, it's just kind of a weird guy.
He literally went on Twitter and was like, big guest. And listen, Gareth, you are a big guest.
No,
I want to hike that up to the moon. The thing is, we're a football show, and he just did that, and people are like, did you get Tom Brady?
It's going to be a letdown. It's going to be exactly. That's a letdown. That's a major letdown. But well, I'm happy to be here. I mean, I've never slept with a supermodel. I haven't won a Super Bowl, but I have a cat and a bong. So that's pretty good. There you go. Could be worse.
Tom Brady has a kitten. Well, here's the thing. Tom Brady has not tweeted about that cat again. Like he was like, because there was that rumors of him unretiring, and then he's like, no, I have a kitten at home. We haven't heard about the kitten. I'm a little concerned.
Was he doing that in a way to be like, I'm not unretiring because I have a kitten? Because if that's the case, that for Giselle would be a very difficult justification.
He chose the cat over the family.
Well, she's I was like asking you for like the last 5 years to call it quits, and he's like, yeah, but then I got a cat. Someone's got to clean the litter.
Yeah, someone's got to do it. Yeah. So I think it just makes a lot of sense.
It's more like maybe here's a kitten. Will you guys stop talking about my divorce, please? Like, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
It's like, sure, I named the cat Giselle, but that is completely unrelated. They're not related things.
I love her. She never gives me shit about my career or anything like that.
But she does scratch. So it happens. Yeah.
So I don't even know if you watched the draft at all, Gareth, but I know
did.
you're a Packers fan, and I just want you to give them a grade.
Well,
Uneducated or educated, I just need a grade.
That's what you were alluding to. Is like that's like whenever anyone asks that, I'm always like, well, it's kind of about the last draft or 2 drafts ago. But I thought when they picked Van Ness, I was like, I like the pick, but I was also like, they got to get some offense. And then they just went after it. So I feel like a couple of those are going to hit. I like Goody a lot. So I honestly would give it an A. I feel like with Gary's injury, Van Ness, and then you got to think when Gary comes back, the defense, when I was reading through our starting defense, I was like, every one of these dudes is good and like has played really well. So I feel like I would give it an A, and I'm not even being a homer. I would be like, if I thought that if we went all defense or something like that, I would say it's problematic because you want to make Love look good. So, but no, when I was watching some of the, like, I forget who we took in the 6th round, that receiver, I was like, what is going on? The running back we took looks unreal. Again, it's like, it's sort of like, as a comedian, if you follow bad comedy all night and then you get up there, you look great. So I don't know necessarily the competition they're playing against with a lot of these highlight reels. But I am like, holy shit, there's some bursts. And I really like that receiver. The 6th round receiver. What was his name again? Wicks, yeah.
Dontavion Wicks, yeah. Dude, like he can be really, really good. I was talking to Brandon about this before. It just seems like it's like, hey, Jordan Love, we're going to give you everybody to throw to. Like, we're going to give you someone in the slot who's a speedster. You have Christian Watson, you have Romeo Doubs. Here, you have 3 tight ends now that you could just dump the ball off to.
The tight ends.
Go out and play. Meanwhile, the defense, it's like, all right, Joe Barry, here's Lucas Van Ness. And then, like, I think they got some guys later who are going to be really good. But it's like, here, let's see if you can continue to not make our defense great, even though the majority of players are really talented on that defense.
That's the thing with the Barry defense. Like, I remember last year being like, he's awful, fire him. And then people were like, the defense is playing ridiculously well. And I was like, they are? I feel like they're
4 games
horrible.
straight they did.
Yeah. But I agree. I mean, I think the thing is, if the complaint that Rodgers always had was not enough offense, and I feel like he was probably sitting there with the Van Ness pick, like, see? And then we just were pretty relentless. Also stacking the picks. Like, I really did. I loved the way we drafted. I thought it was really good. I thought if 1 or 2 of those guys pops for offense, that's huge. Like Watson. I mean, that was one of those ones where you're just going, there's where are these receivers? And then you're going, oh, wow, we actually have a ball.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him in year 2, so, and also to think of like last year's draft, there are probably going to be a couple guys who you're like, oh, great.
What are your thoughts about Rodgers? How do you feel about him as a Packers fan, and then trying to navigate that as a comedian as well?
Well, it's so funny because I was like, just sick of him, for a minute there. And I'm just going, God, just, I hate the person who just goes, I don't like the media attention. By the way, let me do all the things I can to get all the media attention. And so I was totally sick of him. I'd been saying I thought we should have traded him last season, the season before last season, because of the value, was through the roof. I like what we got still. But then I was on Bert Kreischer's podcast, and he brought me to Green Bay to do a show. And he's like, we can hang out with Rodgers. And then I was like, he's the best. I love the guy. The guy's like the best ever, just like that, flip the switch. But look, as far as he was amazing. What a great quarterback to have for so long. The idea of going from Favre to Rodgers was awesome. I will say last year was the year where I started going, oh, he's making some of those throws that I saw Favre at the end of his career, just the forcing of the throws. Now, I don't know if that's because, he just felt like he had no other option other than to take huge risks. But the thing about him was that he was always so good at ball security. And he was just kind of throwing up, into double coverage and stuff where you're just going, wow, that really on this level, I hadn't really seen him do that. So I am excited to see what Love can do. I know you have that random sampling. It reminded me of when Rodgers came in for Favre at the Dallas game, and you were like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, what's going on over here?" But I felt like you saw that with Love. I mean, you saw, after some time in the system, of course these guys get better. So, I don't expect them to win MVP, but I definitely think that, having a younger quarterback who can run again will just provide like a good burst, I think.
Well, it's so interesting because I feel like because it's different in Green Bay too. And I know like every team will say this in like one way or another, but Packers fans are very like protective about their players. They're just like, oh, like they're part of the family. They ride the bikes. They live in Green Bay.
We see them at Quick Trip. Yeah.
You see them at Quick Trip, right?
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it because you go to Green Bay last year, you go to Green Bay today, and you hop in an Uber. They're still talking about Brett Favre. I mean, maybe not so much right now, but like they'll still talk about Brett Favre, right? They talk about these guys. Oh, like I drove, Antonio Freeman from the airport to Lambeau the first time he was here. Like I've heard that a million times about all their different players. So there's like that communal, familial aspect to it. And then there's like Aaron Rodgers, who you're like, yeah, he is on a different level, like kind of like a deity in terms of a player. And then these past couple of years, you're like, okay, it's getting a little tiring. Like it's okay. Like it's like a lot. Oh, what did he say now? Okay. Yep. Sure. Mm-hmm. And then like you just get to a point.
He's dating a legal witch. Okay, we'll hang in there. We'll hang in there. We'll hang in there.
You know what? He's figuring it out. He's just figuring himself out. We're going to support him. We love that for him. But after a while, you're just like, okay, like what's Jordan Love got going on? Regardless of like what the football aspect was, because it did get like a bit tiring. And so he leaves and you could recognize like he was an amazing player. Jordan Love is probably not going to be that his first season or ever. We'll see, because we don't know. But it's like, I'm ready for something new just because we've had like the same thing for a really, really long time. And that's not taking it for granted. It's just like, hey, I'm curious to like flip the page a little bit and see what a different book could look like.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's sort of like, I mean, it's this. I mean, I remember going through it when they drafted Rodgers. Yeah. I was like, to what you're saying, I was like pissed. I was like, what are you doing? We got Favre. We're good. Leave him alone. Yeah. They know what they're doing. And the same thing with Love a little bit, where I was like, oh, don't upset Rodgers. But you do have to get outside of that. And they always talk about team and all that. So if they draft a quarterback, they're allowed to do that in the first round. Yeah. The job is to think long term, and I think that obviously rubbed Rodgers a lot. There was a fissure there, as there would be with any sort of like heir apparent. But as soon as they did that, you knew the page was going to get turned soon. And I feel like they did it at the right time. Rodgers, he was the MVP recently, obviously. So he's still an amazing quarterback.
Yeah.
But there was a lot more going on. And I think that can be divisive to the team. And again, having youth, having like fresh legs, like Love will be able to, run for firsts more than Rodgers did. When you watch Josh Allen, it's like, that's one of those things, I mean, Rodgers used to do that all the time. If the play was not there, he would just run for a first. That aspect sort of stopped. So I am excited to see what goes on, and to not really. And Jordan Love seems like he's dating a regular person, not like the son of a warlock.
Yeah, well, it's also funny how like the NFL kind of just gave Rodgers this pass for doing ayahuasca in the offseason. Like that's somehow like an acceptable drug that he can talk about.
Funny. Yeah.
But like maybe
Rodgers, you tested positive for ayahuasca. We understand you left the planet 3 days ago.
I'm just waiting for him to go on McAfee and like, so last year it was ayahuasca. This year I did a 4-day cocaine binge.
Yeah. I played on DMT in the conference finals game.
Just at halftime, I was like, you know what? This is really, I need to see the game even slower. Like,
yeah, they just catch him like how Sanchez was caught eating a hot dog on the sideline. He's just licking frogs. They're like, Rodgers, come on, get back in there.
Like if he said that 5 years ago, how long would he have been suspended for?
It's one of those things where the NFL is like, wait, do we have to? What is our ayahuasca policy?
Yeah.
No one's ever heard the things that Aaron Rodgers has made mainstream is amazing. Like even at his Jets press conference in front of the New York media, when I came out of the darkness, and everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, we just accept it. Like
a year ago, that wasn't a common saying.
No.
And like, listen, I'm all about it. Like, that's not even judgment. It's just, I think it's absolutely hysterical that he has brought like some key terms into like mainstream media and focus. That he's like, oh yeah, you went on a darkness retreat. Like, there was a New York reporter sitting there in Jersey going, so when you were in your darkness retreat, and just like saying it just like verbatim, and they're like,
Rogers, we want to circle back to the darkness you were in for 4 days. Well, the thing about that, it kind of encapsulates how I felt about him towards the end of his career. As it was like, if you want to go do a darkness retreat, that's all about shutting off, escaping, kind of going on an inward journey. Why are you talking about it so much? Isn't that like incongruent with what you're actually trying to achieve? This sort of like inner peace, but you're like, here's a TikTok of me doing it. It's like, I don't know. It felt there was a lot of that going on. I mean, he became like, he sort of thought of himself as like the pocket Buddha. And, I mean, again, I like the idea that this, that he became more introspective and all that. Sure. It just definitely felt like the Instagram version of that in a lot of ways.
So I have a question for you, Gareth, because like I tried, and I saw it in the chat too, because like not looking for boohoo, like turning the page, what have you, but the expectation for the Packers since Favre, right, is Super Bowl every year. Like 08, it wasn't like when Rodgers took over. 09, you're like, okay, this guy could be special. They lose like the shootout with the Cardinals in the wild card game. Yeah. God, that game crushed me.
The kick fumble or whatever that was.
Yeah, the face mask, and I was like, yeah. So the thing is, like, since 2010, you're every year, you're like, yep, you're expecting a Super Bowl. Is there a mentality that is like, I don't know, like for me, like that crap was draining as hell because like every year I was like, let's go Super Bowl. And listen, you're not gonna win a Super Bowl every single year, but the fact that we never made it back, like not even made it there one more time, and you're just like, how much more heartbreaking can this get? Like 2014 ripped my heart out, and I don't think I've ever gotten better from that. Like,
I don't either.
I was a fan.
That to me is the game where you just go, I mean, I left the ball. I started as it went into overtime. I was slowly slinking backwards towards the door of the bar where it was.
You
knew the momentum was gone.
You've seen this movie before.
Yeah, and it is strange to me. The Packers, under McCarthy and under LaFleur to some extent, play for the close game in ways, and you leave that door open a crack, and a good team. I mean, that game was an anomaly without question. Bostic will feel bad. I always feel bad for that guy. But yeah, I mean, the Patriots are the standard. You kind of expected that with Rodgers, with the talent they had when they had Jordy and they had Jennings, and they were, really were just that Matthews, like the things after that Super Bowl, it did feel like it was going to be more perennial. I don't know. I mean, part of it is that it's very hard to win a Super Bowl, but then you watch what the Patriots did.
Yeah.
And you sort of felt like at the time, like the Packers were NFC Patriots.
Yes.
And I don't know. I don't know what the issue was. There was clearly that Seahawks game, it was like that was one. We were supposed to go to the Super Bowl that year. And it just was we gave it away. There was Rodgers always under McCarthy for a good amount of it. Felt like Rodgers was bailing McCarthy out to me. I mean, without knowing, a ton, but it felt like Rodgers' skill was always bailing McCarthy out. And then it sort of felt like towards the end of his time in Green Bay that LaFleur's system was kind of bailing Rodgers out at times, and vice versa, because he's obviously such a great improviser. But the expectation is the Super Bowl. I think with Love, look, what you have now is you have a guy who you're not going to have to pay a ton right away to. So hopefully I know. Yes, that's part of the problem with how we do it,
It's
But
until tomorrow to
I
figure
know.
out the 5th-year extension.
I know. Well, once he starts playing well, but there is a nice little window right now where you are playing with house money to some extent, and I don't know. I mean, the fact that Favre and Rodgers only won one Super Bowl each is crazy. The fact that Rodgers only went to one with us is totally crazy. He is statistically, obviously, arguably the best quarterback of all time, and he won't be considered that because he didn't win enough of the championships. But
you guys are in for some pain. Losing Rodgers. I mean, look, maybe Jordan Love's going to be great, but as a Broncos fan who watched Peyton Manning leave and we haven't been able to replace him, pain is coming your way, and then.
But it's different though,
30
Brandon.
years of Hall of Fame QB. It's kind of fucked up. It's a big middle finger to other football fans.
But this is what happened. This is what happened with Favre to Rodgers. To be fair,
I know, but
I know,
and again.
Well, and again, who knows? However, I remember every single person telling me how big of a mistake it was that they were doing what they did with Rodgers. I'm not saying that Love is going to be Rodgers. But I will say the idea of giving a guy
better than Rodgers.
He will be. Thank you. I'm making the claim that he will be better than the best statistical quarterback of all time. I think that you have 3 years to kind of sit back and learn. It just helps a lot. And the glimmer we had of him this year, obviously drove people crazy because it was awesome. He wasn't amazing, but he was better than Rodgers was in that game. For the small sample size that he played, he was very good. So it's exciting.
I have a question about the Dollop, because one reason I wanted you on here because I want more people to listen to the Dollop. It's, in my opinion, the best podcast out there.
It's the Rodgers of podcasts.
Gareth. What's that?
It's the Rodgers of podcasts.
Yeah, it is.
The Rodcast.
Very few interceptions.
Yeah, we've had a couple.
I listen to it every night with my earbuds on, and I fall asleep. So you're an intimate part of my bedtime routine without knowing me.
Steamy. Don't get embarrassed, Tom. This is hot.
No, I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I've been trying for years to work my way into the family bed, but
nope.
No, I really want like a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory like style setup.
I wouldn't say Chocolate Factory and bed in the same. That just sort of takes on the.
Yeah. Now we've got a lot of football fans here, sports fans here, and it's a history podcast. But you've done a ton of like baseball episodes, some great ones. What's your favorite like sports dollop that you've done?
Well, there are a number of them, but 10-cent beer night is just a perfect episode as far as the story goes, in that it is, it's the underdog story. It has a nice dose of, throwing some capitalist crumbs to some bread and circus at the pawns, and alcohol. And anytime those three kind of Venn diagram it up, you might have some fire. And that just when two aggravated sports teams are playing each other and they end up having to shepherd each other off of the field because the fans are so drunk that there is a crowd mutiny, that's pretty good stuff. So I would say 10-cent beer night. There's other ones that are maybe a little more poignant. There's I can't remember the guy's name, but he was basically the first gay baseball player. He invented, when I learned how the high five was invented, that's one of those things that you never think, how did the high five start? But it was just two Dodgers one day were just like, bam! And people were like, that's awesome. We should keep that. So yeah, but 10-cent beer night to me is the one where it's relentless with how crazy it gets in the outfield. There was a pile of clothes from streakers, a pile. Yeah. Like players were playing around a pile. Like it was just exceptional.
So Brandon, just for those who do not listen to the DOP or don't know like the premise, can you just kind of give like a 20-30 second rundown of just like what the show entails and like what it looks like and how it's different from other podcasts?
Yes,
for
it's a
people.
bi-weekly American history podcast that airs once a week, right?
I wanted to give him. I wanted to
basically-
give him this opportunity
Yeah.
because now he's standing in front of the teacher and he's like, "Right? Did I do good? Okay, good. Here we go."
Yeah.
Do I get
You're
an A,
great.
Gareth?
You're doing great. Better than me.
So it's co-hosted with Dave Anthony, another comedian, and he basically just tells Gareth a story from history. But like history is kind of they're just interesting stories about different things that happen, and there's a lot of history centric ones, but like I said, there's a bunch of sports ones, and then Dave has all the information, and then basically Gareth tries to take it off the rails. Is one of the best improv comedians I've ever listened to during the show. So if I can compare it like to this show, when Tom and I can't really stick to any of our NFL news points, it's kind of like that. It's comedy and history, and it's my favorite podcast. And I was nervous before this episode, Gareth, and we've talked to
done
NFL
really well.
players, not intimidated, not nervous.
Giddy.
This is a show I look up to.
Giddy.
Wow, that's. I mean, I consider myself to be an athlete of improv in many ways, so that actually does line up. It lines up that I'm here. I have a Packer tattoo. You know, you guys.
You have a Packers tattoo?
I do.
See, I didn't even know how much of a Packers fan you were. Like I knew
I'm an owner. I'm a tattooed man. I've got it all.
Nice.
I met John Yurkovic at an autograph signing and got him to say that he liked Warren Blatt's beer. I'm a homer.
Where's the tattoo?
The tattoo, I'll show you. It's on my peen. No, it's right
yeah.
on my shoulder. Now this will show you how long I've had it. It's like
okay. Brandon, you're so welcome for this. You're so welcome. I've given you everything you could possibly want. We can't even hear Gareth because the microphone.
There it is.
There it is. There it is.
Nice. See-through. It's
That
almost
is-
translucent on an Englishman at this point.
You know what's really funny? Brandon kind of has something similar, but for me, because he just really appreciates working with me so much, he actually shaved TG into his chest hair.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say his back hair, which would be
No, we tried. Trust me, we tried. It wasn't
too hard to
picking
shorten.
up yet.
Isn't
Oh,
that
it's
right,
not enough.
Brandon?
What's
Right.
that?
Isn't that right? You right?
You
Like
did
right
that?
now, you have it.
You
Let's
want me
have
to
a
show
look.
Gareth my chest?
Yeah.
Because it could be like the Green Bay Packers. It could just be like abbreviated.
Yeah, the green.
It's.
Wait a minute. 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 Wait a minute.
I lost a bet. I had to do it.
I wasn't lying. You thought I was like, that was a bit. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, good bit. Fun little joke.
Nope,
Yeah,
no
hilarious.
bit.
Especially when I said the back hair, and you're like, no. I'm like, well, it's actually yes and. You're like, no, we're dealing with reality.
Yeah, no. Listen, I did improv for years. I get you. It's just no. This was not a yes and. This was oh no.
Why?
This is a thing.
Well, Brandon, would you like to share with the rest of the class why that happened?
They know.
I don't even remember. Why did I have to do it, Tom?
So
When was this?
Brandon and I just this happened last week. Like,
Okay, 'cause you're acting like it happened like a year ago, and you keep shaving it. And you're like, how did this start?
Well, I
every
forget
year
a
he
lot of
keeps
things.
losing a bet.
Man.
I've made a lot of bets that I've lost with Tom. This was
It's true. He has to get a bronze statue of me, but literally, it was just an argument, and Brandon was just like willing to die on this hill that Derek Carr was going to get traded for a first-round pick, and he was just like really adamant. And I was like, you know what, dude? Like, you want to bet? I'm like, it's not going to happen. Like, I know this for a fact, and he got traded for nothing because they released him. So we're like, yeah, you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing. So,
what did you think when you saw that he got traded for that he was just straight up cut?
It was like later that it was like an hour after the show. It really started to hit that they weren't going to get the value. And it wasn't so much that I thought he would definitely get a first. I was mostly mad that Tom wouldn't admit like that he should be considered for that compensation.
Right.
there's no way.
There's a lot of baggage between Tom and I in that.
Why do you think
that
that's
argument.
partially because he's in your division that you sort of feel like he's better than he is? Because he's not great.
I think it was more like the quarterback market was just so crazy last year, and also my team gave up a lot for Russell Wilson. So
See, Gareth,
maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah, that's That's what I want to. I feel, we're unfurling and it's nice. It's like
That's
a
the
therapist.
trauma. That's
Exactly. We're
everybody
like, so
should
dad
have to
didn't
give
hug
up.
you. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought Carr would be too nice to force the Raiders to just release him. Like, I thought he was going to let the trade happen. And it was like later that day, Carr says he's not going to allow the Raiders to trade him. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm really screwed on this bet.
Yeah. But then he tried to get out of it and goes, well, he wasn't traded at all. So I didn't lose. I was like, we're like, nope. Absolutely
I actually
not.
talked to my team of attorneys who believe that there is actually the bet is null and void. So wait, that trade that happened a long time ago. So why just last week you just finally paid?
I had to really
forgetting
you kept forgetting
the hair.
We kept forgetting. No, we kept forgetting, one. And then two, he was just like, there aren't enough people watching. I want to do this when more people are watching. But then he was like, there's too many people watching. Can we do it? There's less?
Too big of a spotlight. We missed our window.
We just made him do it live. So yeah, we peer pressure a lot on this show. Yeah.
Well, what let me ask you this, Brendan. Do you think the Packers with Love could win the division this year?
I don't think they will.
Well, you want to make a bet? You do my initials in your chest, and I'll do yours if I lose.
100%. Yes.
Right,
you will take that. Imagine a BP in there, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, Gareth's just a big gas guy. Just really about that oil company."
I hate turtles.
What's sad is like I've been working with Manscaped as a sponsor for my show for like 5 years. So this is not the first time I've had to do body art, as I call it.
Yeah, I've also worked with Manscaped. I didn't realize we were going to name drop sponsors, but I've had a long, fruitful career with Manscaped myself.
I just love Gareth.
What's
I
your
really love
code?
that as a clip, just screaming into the void. I hate turtles like that.
I hate turtles.
That's a future GPS clip.
That'll bite me in the ass
100%.
when I'm running for Congress.
I know you got shows coming up, Gareth. I wanted you to promote them here. You're writing for the animated series Royal Crackers, and you're doing voices on there too.
Yeah, I did a few in the set. You know, you do a few when they just need some fill-in voices. But yeah, it's called Royal Crackers. It's an Adult Swim show you can watch on HBO Max. It's totally insane. And yeah, you might hear me a little bit in there. And then yeah, I'm on tour. I have a special called England, Weed, and the Rest that you can watch on YouTube, which is a hot site. There's not a lot of comedians doing this model. No. But you can go on YouTube, search England, Weed, and the Rest, or you can go to my website, GarethReynolds.com, and there's a special link. And then I have tons of tour dates. I'll be in Austin next weekend. I'll be in Los Angeles, or 2 weekends. I'll be in Los Angeles. Isn't this a fun part? I'll be in Los Angeles this weekend, then Phoenix, then Austin. And then in July, I'm like all over. I'm going from like Alabama to like New York. So I'll be driving up that little route if anyone lives in there, but go to GarethReynolds.com. Where are you, Tom?
I'm in New York.
Oh, yeah. I'm at the New York Comedy Club in New York City. Or if you're a Connecticut person, I'm in Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, when are you doing New York Comedy Club?
On July like 17th.
It's a nice venue.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times. It's a nice venue.
Well, you let me know. I can get you tickets at a quarter of the price. It's on most.
Drink minimum, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no. But then they also have one in Connecticut, the New York Comedy Club in Connecticut, which seems a little confusing and like an indictment on Connecticut. Feels like they were like, nobody wants to go to the Stamford Comedy Club. It's New York, baby.
Well, it's like they have you ever been to Levity Live in the Palisades Mall in New York? Yeah. So like that stage is beautiful. It's like a 300 person
is that West Nyack?
Yeah, it's in West Nyack. Yep. Yeah. And it's like beautiful. It's also like in a mall. There's like a Dave and Buster's, like literally like a throwaway. There's like screaming children, but then there's like this beautiful oasis of a comedy theater. So
Tom, most of the gigs that I do are in malls. And I'll tell you, there is something that makes you feel really good about always being a stone's throw from a Dave and Buster's. And, seeing like a Margaritaville across, it's just you get very used to it. I will say the West Nyack Mall was my first time seeing a post office in a mall. And I thought, what is happening here?
That is interesting.
It was very strange.
it's across the river. It's across the Hudson. Like, listen, I love it. Like, they do different things there. So yeah, it's just
You will
it's a
have
different
some
place.
Dippin' Dots with your stamps you're purchasing
Yeah,
today.
yeah. It just seemed very incongruent. I was like, how did this happen?
It's an interesting, but I get that
It's a
though. Like, you're
huge
just like,
mall.
it's enormous. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like what, 4 levels? I think.
Yeah.
It's
Levity
pretty
on the
big.
4th, right near Chili's.
Yep, right near the Chili's. The Target is literally right there. It has
Just-
its own entrance and everything.
When I drew this plan up for my career, this is how I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it near a Target and a Chili's above a post office in West Nyack.
then that's how you know you've made it.
And
though.
talking about it on a weird football YouTube streaming show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been an honor.
We got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you for coming on the show. We'll let you get out of here, and it was an honor to have you on.
All right, but we have a standing bet. Don't you
Bet
forget
it
about
up.
it. Yeah, okay. Someone's getting the initials in there.
Packers have to
Tom
win the
witnessed.
division.
Oh, I got this. No, it's embedded in here, and I
Yeah.
will totally not forget next week.
Tom, what do you think? Any chance they win the division?
I think that if Joe, this is the
Yes,
biggest.
his lack of confidence.
If he's going to be doing a lot of work here, it's going to be doing a lot of if Joe Barry can get that defense to an elite level, I think that they could be like a 9 or 10 win team.
Yeah. There you go. See, Brandon, you got excited, and then he said something positive. So
Yeah, I think it could be a 9 or 10 win team.
Never stalls like that.
I think they're like around because the problem is we don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know. Everyone's like, the Packers are going to suck. I'm like, they could. They 100% could. They could be one of the worst teams in the league. Or they could be like a middle of the road team, or they could be an up and coming team. I don't think they're going to be a great team this year, but like I just don't know.
Glimmers might win the division. I'll see you with the initials. By the way, Brandon, I just want to remind you, in the Super Bowl when you guys beat us, Favre had Antonio Freeman right over the middle, and he should have completed that pass.
That's
Would have
accurate.
changed the entire game. Anyway, congrats on that.
Gareth, can you please just if you remember this, please, now that you have information in your brain that you probably never wanted, just in the middle of the show, right when you're recording the dollop, if you're just like, I hope you're sleeping well, Brandon, just in the middle of it,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he
it's
would
funny
die.
to say that, Tom, because sometimes I get mad at you, Gareth, for making Dave laugh, that loud, raspy laugh out of nowhere, and it wakes me up. And I shouldn't be mad at you. I should be mad at myself.
No, this is
for
my
listening
fault.
to a podcast while I'm sleeping. I should be mad at Dave for laughing too loud.
There
I'm
was
like, Gareth, what are you doing?
There was a guy on Twitter who said Dave's cutting out his laughs, and I was like, what? And he's like, I have evidence that Dave is removing his laughs, which for me is like, have you ever seen if you go on YouTube and you watch Friends without the laugh track, Friends becomes a very strange show without the laugh track. And I'm like, wait, so I'm just like throwing darts all day, and then Dave's just like making it sound like he's silent. It's a very different experience. And it's people like you, Brandon, who are doing that.
Ooh.
So
I should
Brandon,
re-edit a dollop where Dave doesn't laugh at anything you say.
Awkward.
One full episode. The last dollop.
like you make a joke, it's just
Also, that night they went down to the docks. And I'm like, hey, come on, man. I'm slinging over here. Well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure. Tom, the only note I have for you, maybe a little more Packers stuff. Let's get it right. Okay. And maybe another hat or two. I hope your hair grows in differently, Brandon. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Gareth.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Go check out the dollop. Check out Gareth and all the tour dates and all the things that he's got going on. Brandon, how you feeling, buddy? You feeling good?
They say you should never meet your heroes. Well, I'm here to tell you that's wrong. 100% wrong.
You feel good?
Did I seem nervous?
You were happy. You seemed very happy. And I also love how you were like, yeah, what I just fixed it. I just love how you started and you're like, he is like my favorite like Packers fan, comedian who does sports talk and stuff like that. I'm just like, you son of a bitch. It's fine. It's all right.
My favorite Packers fan, Gareth Reynolds.
Yep. That's fine. That's fine. You know what? It's fine.
No, it's just like it's the first time we've talked to a non-football player who does something different than football, who I just really respect. I just think he's the best improv comic in the game on that show. So if you haven't listened to the Dollops, start with the sports to ease yourself in there. Denver, do the Coors episode. The Ricky Henderson one they did recently is a 2-parter. Check it out. If you want history and you want to hate every president we've ever had, just listen to any of the ones about presidents.
You know what? It was very wholesome to see you as happy as you were. It was very nice.
Yeah. I've been thinking about tweeting to him to come on the show for a long time. And then I just did. And he was like, yeah, I'll come on. I was like, oh shit, that was easy.
Like, I just love, it's because like we had AJ Dillon on like 3 weeks ago, something like that. And like, that was cool. Like that was really, AJ was a great conversation. Like that was amazing. But to see you get so happy and giddy because what I just experienced is like what people will tell you. They'll be like, I listen to your show all the time. Like, I love you. Like, I love your jokes. That's how you just were here. And that's awesome. Because I feel like when you create content, it's a little bit, you don't feel that way about content so much. Like Brandon and I talk about this all the time. We really don't watch each other's content just because we're so, gotta get worried about us, blah, blah, blah. So if you could find content that you like relate to, escape with, you know, just genuinely love, like Brandon does with the dollop, it's really nice to see. So
it's more like too, like watching so much football shit like all year long. It's like when I'm done working, I need to detach and do something completely different. And it's just like their podcast is one of those things. In that first year when Carmi was keeping us up all night, like that's when I really got into it because 2 a.m. you're in with the kid. You don't know if you're going to be in there 10 minutes or 40 minutes. So it's just really good. It's a really good podcast. So.
Yeah. But Mr. Brandon Perna, what do you got coming out today, bud?
Ooh, busy day. We got a draft video. The 5 teams that changed their destiny in the draft. Shout out to Johnny Barks for editing that shit for me yesterday and having it done. I haven't even watched through the episode yet. Do I watch through it? Or do I just trust Johnny at this point?
There's so many times where I've just trusted Johnny and I was just like, I got to put it up there.
He's pretty trustworthy. And then I'll have the XFL recap of the playoff games.
Yes. Hold on. I have to show you something. Great. Thank you for reminding me, Rachel, because I would have totally forgot. Please hold. So, Brandon, Rachel, you're talking about history, informed me of something that is outside the Denver airport.
Oh, yeah. Is it Blucifer?
It is Blucifer. And so Rachel created this art.
Oh, my God.
She's
Rachel, let me put that on a shirt. Can I spell that?
Broncos? We just got to change it to Broncos, but yes.
Oh, you know how often I misspell Broncos by accidentally fat fingering that in and before the C? Or flipping. I always do Brocknose, B-R-O-C.
Brocknose.
The Brocknose.
That's just a Greek restaurant.
Oh my dude, when I pick you up from the airport, actually I don't know if you can stop by him. Do you know the backstory about this?
I don't.
The artist who built this thing died while building it because one of the pieces fell on him and
that does not surprise me. That thing is cursed, so that makes a lot of sense.
I'm 90% sure that's true. Oh my, that's hilarious, Rachel.
Wait a minute, you just said that as a fact and you had no idea that you're like, I'm 90% sure that's accurate.
It's one of those things that's just been around so long. It's like maybe I should double check to make sure that's true.
You're trying to do like the dollop. You're just like, but I'm just gonna make history up potentially. Like I might just tell complete lies.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you got, Tom?
Wait, so hon, you said that you had the 5 teams that changed.
Oh yeah, the XFL playoff recap.
Got it.
Spoiler: a team that won 4 games is going to the championship.
Nailed it. I probably am going to do a team reaction today that I want to get out. I want to do power rankings. Haven't done power rankings in a while, so we'll see if I can get that done. But yeah, then there'll be like probably the divisional draft grades will come out at some point this week. Cool. But yeah, it's a lot of planning right now. Kind of after the big announcement for 30 and 30, got to now plan more. So we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Folks, We appreciate you watching. We'll be back on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. But folks, Broncos.
Broncos.
I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
You've reached the Broncos.